There are studies, for example, that show that you can take a particular man and put him in a suit and give him a Rolex watch, and women will rate him as much more attractive
Yes, I've seen that study.
than, when you take that same man and put him in a Burger King outfit, then he just has no interest at all. That same man, but the clothes make the man, sort of thing.
It's what the clothes represent.
Yeah.
Wealth, success, those kinds of things that women admire.
It is a big issue, and it is something that woman needs to look at, and looks at her accountability in this dynamic. She is involved. My feeling is that women tend to view themselves as pawns of the system. I would have women understand themselves as participants. I would say that women are and have always been as powerful as men, and having an equal overall force of influence in the sculpting of our human world through sexual power and motherhood power and many different kinds of rather subjective but no less real powers and influences. And I would say that it can only be a lift to woman's self-esteem to see herself as equal partner in making the world, not as some, second sex or some, some
second-class
chattel or something like
property.
Property that feminism would have them view themselves. Feminism relies on women being angry. It's a politicized perspective. Only angry women are going to go out there and protest and through their actions support the feminist movement. Complacent people are not going to write angry letters. Angry people write angry letters. It all balances out. That's my platform, and that more than anything is what I wish to try and convey and helped the world to perceive, this balance that in the benefits enjoyed and the liabilities suffered and the power and the victimization and the freedoms and the constraints, it all balances out between men and women, and it always has.
One thing I point out to a lot of my friends who have children, women are the mothers who raise the sons, and when you raise children, you pretty much set the standard for whatever the behavior, the acceptable behavior is.
Yeah.
So if you have raised your son to see himself as someone who is superior to a woman, then it's the mother who has created that condition. It's the mother who creates that culture.
There's a famous phrase, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
That's
Obviously, this is just a pithy phrase and can only contain so much truth, but it does contain a very strong kernel of truth to that. Motherhood power is huge. And we just haven't really explored it. We've looked at the power of politicians, we've looked at the power of generals, we've looked at the power of scientists, but we have not really looked at the power of mothers to shape the world. We've not looked at the degree to which women's sexual power has always driven the system. If men feel that they must perform, achieve, and succeed in order to have what women are sexually empowered to demand, this is going to be part of the dynamic, part of the influence, part of the engine, part of the fuel that drives the whole system. I would say that women also have had the greater, many different kinds of powers. The power to shame men, setting men up as the superior sex, sets them up to be shamed. Women have had a greater average verbal and emotional acuity than men have. Men often just like they're standing still, and a woman just is running circles around them in that way. Women have had a greater power to elicit empathy, caring, concern, compassion toward themselves. Women have had powers that they have worked through chivalry to be protected to be safeguarded from the dark side of the world and human nature and most of life on Earth's most harsh and hazardous requirements.